Hi, and welcome to Career Happy with Julie. This is a new monthly series here on Anderson Community Television. If you missed our last episode, you can find it online at www.ac-tv.org. I'm Julie Bauke. I'm a career strategist and owner of the Bauke Group. Now, I call the Bauke Group a career happiness firm because for my team and myself, our goal is for people to be career happy on their own terms. And my goal for this series is for you to get career happy, or at least career happier. Maybe you never get to the point where you skip to the shower on Monday mornings, but imagine if you were just a little bit happier in your job or in your career. Imagine what that would do for the rest of your life. You know, as I told you last time, if you watched, the career fairy isn't coming. And finding that elusive career happiness is something that cannot be outsourced, cannot be delegated. Your mom can't do it for you. Hanging out on Career Builder isn't going to do it for you. It's something that has to be done by you, for you, because our career happiness formula is unique. Now, I don't even know you, as I said last time, but I know you deserve to be career happy. And there is no magic formula to getting it done. But I do have a career happiness formula that I'm going to review today to get everybody up to speed, but to also review it because I think it's really important to keep it top of mind. You know, the elusivity, if that's a word, of career happiness is because all the pieces of our life change constantly. One day is different than the next, is different than the next month, is different from 5 years. And we have all these different factors and all these different pieces that we're looking to manage. And so it's complex. And so the ability to figure it out, not only today, but a year from now, and 2 years from now, and 5 years from now, and 10, 20 years from now, is a critical life skill that you need to move successfully through your career and be all that you can be. So today what I'd like to do, we're going to talk about why and how you should consider all the different pieces in your life as you move through your career. When people say to me, how do I know what I like to do or what my career happiness is? The clues are all throughout our lives. So let's start talking about some of the pieces of that, the past, the present, and the future. So think about, are you looking to define your career happiness? Are you looking to get it, or are you looking to own it? Those are the three things we talked about last time. Suggest you go catch up. So are you looking to define, get, or own? Now, let's say you say, you know what, I'm going to use that career happiness formula and I'm going to figure out what's going to make me happy at work. Where do I start? I mean, I'm not sure that I know what I like to do or what I'm good at. And you know what, frankly, sometimes people get in such a spot that they've been miserable in their jobs for so long that the thought of being happy at work is almost a foreign concept. It's almost like a foreign language. It's like I've been miserable for so long that I can't even envision what that would be. I can't even look up out of my hole and figure out what that might look like for me. So if you're one of those people, if you've been in a job or in a role that's not been satisfying or fulfilling for as long as you can remember, it is going to be harder for you to claw your way out of that hole. But never fear. I don't care who you are or where in your career you are, there's hope for you. To maybe not skip to the shower on Monday mornings, but come darn close. So when you say, you say, Julie, you say, what do you like to do? What do you love to do? What are you good at? I don't know. Okay, so I'd like to tell you that it's as easy as sticking the career happiness formula under your pillow, and then the next day you have the answer. But as I've said before, and I will say a million times, it is hard work. So why does your past, present, and your future matter? And why does it play so heavily into career happiness? Right, so those three pieces. Let's talk about your past, or our past, which I call everything before today. Everything before the moment that you're watching this is your past. There are clues as to what we're good at and what we like to do and how and where we can be successful in our past. And here's how you want to think about it. Think about every job that you've ever had and what you liked about it and what you didn't like about it, what you felt successful at and good at, and what you didn't. What factors in that job or career allowed you to be successful, and what didn't. So instead of looking at your past, you think like your resume, how it's got like your last job, then the one before that, then the one before that. What I want you to do is instead take a piece of paper, take something and turn it to its side, and write across the top every job you've ever had. And then draw a line smack dab in the middle of the piece of paper. And for each job, and above the line goes the stuff you like to do and the stuff you were good at and the ways in which you were successful. Below the line goes the stuff that you didn't like to do, you tried to avoid, you weren't successful at, and factors in your jobs and positions that didn't allow you to be successful. So what happens is, if you take it and divide it out like that, so in my last job, maybe I'm an account manager at a technology company. And so the factors that you like about that, the things you feel successful at, the pieces of it you like and you'd like to have more of, go above the line. The other stuff goes below the line. If you go through and do that for each of your last several jobs or positions that you've held, then all of a sudden you will see patterns emerge. You will see, for example, things like, I really liked working with the most difficult customers. The ones that were the most difficult to please were the ones I liked working with the best because I really liked the challenge of turning them around. If that's something you felt like you were good at, you got great feedback on, and you like to do, and you see that as a pattern, then that would go in the category of something I want to do more of. If every time you had to sit and work on a report where there was a lot of data analysis, you said, I'm going to put this pencil through my eye because I am so miserable, then you want to stay away from that. There are pieces, even in your most miserable job that you've ever had, I would submit to you that there are pieces of it that when you got to do that stuff, you weren't quite as miserable. There are days when we go home from work and all we want to do is lay on the couch and not get up until we have to. There are other days when we come home and we say, you know what, that's not such a bad job. What a great day I had today. But rarely do we stop and look at what was great about it. What did I get to do? What did I get to avoid? What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less of? So this opportunity to go from this moment backwards gives you the opportunity to revisit each job and situation that you've had and cherry pick out the stuff that you like to do, the stuff you were good at, and the stuff that made you successful. So for instance, 2 jobs ago, I had a boss who was very flexible, just gave me the ability to do my job, laid out the goals, made sure I had the resources available to get it done, and then got out of my way. I found that I was able to be extremely successful working there. However, in my job 3 jobs ago, I worked for a micromanager, and not only was it very stressful, I found I wasn't able to be quite as successful. So those are things that maybe in your past that you can draw conclusions from and bring them forward to your analysis of what's going to make you happy. So we all have a history. Now, if you're saying, gosh, I'm new in the job market, or I've been at home for the last 10 to 15 years, here's the deal. It's not those, we are one person, whether we're showing up at a community event, at our religious organization, at our kids' activities, volunteer roles, anything that we've done, we're the same person. And we attract toward the same things. We're good at the same things no matter where we go. You can't be a different person in all the places you show up. So even if you've not been in the workplace for a while, you look back and you say, okay, what are the kind of things that people come to me for? What are the kind of things that people tell me, you know, Steve, you're so good at these things? What are the things that when someone says, we need someone to do this, you raise your hand and say, please pick me? On the other hand, what are the things that you didn't enjoy doing or weren't very successful at, or people didn't come to you for? Or the stuff that people came to you, they'd say, we need somebody to do this, and you go, oh God, not me, and you'd hide under the table, hoping that you didn't get called on. We all have those things. And to think, as some people do, unfortunately, and sometimes as people are earlier in their careers, think, I can do anything, I can get along with anybody, I can be successful at anything, I'm like a chameleon, I can blend in. No, you can't. And we'll all be better at certain things than others. And so the better you get at pinpointing those things, wrapping your mind and your arms around them, and then being able to articulate what those things are, the better off you'll be. To be able to say, you know, if you want somebody to do these things, it's me. If you want somebody to do these things, it ain't me, it's somebody else. That's professional maturity. And our past give us clues as to what those things look like and then how to articulate them. And sometimes people fall apart here and they say things like, well, you know, I just need a job. I'll just do anything. I can't be picky. Yes, you can. You have my permission to be picky. Now, I understand that sometimes it's food on the table, and I get that. But you always want to get as close to your ideal as you can. So consider your past. Consider where you were successful and happy. Even if it's just a day in which you were happy, figure out what was it. Or a day in which you were miserable. What was it that made that day miserable or that day happy? So now, here we are sitting here today. If you take a look backwards and say, here's the stuff that's really worked for me in the past, you want to bring that forward and say, okay, so now as I look around where I am today, let's say you're working and you say, I'm just not happy. Looking back and thinking about times when you were happy and successful is a great way, it provides a great framework for you to look at your today and to figure out why what you're doing today isn't working. Wow, it seems like I was really happy and successful when I worked for somebody who gave me a lot of space. The person I'm working for today, she is very much a micromanager. That helps you identify why you're not happy. What happens is, sometimes we get so mired in the forest that we can't see our own trees. And we get so far down and lose our confidence, and we're just so, we're so miserable that we can't even see what's good about us. And so looking into the past helps us figure out what our past has looked like, times when we were successful, and then we look at that and we say, okay, what is my current state? And why is it working or why is it not working? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? And what do I never want to do again? Now, I'm not saying that every job is puppies and rainbows, but the idea is you want your bucket of stuff you like to do and the stuff you're good at more full than the bucket of stuff you don't like to do. Well, what happens over time, or that you're not good at, what happens over time is sometimes little things change, little drops of water kind of drop on you, and you say, these little tiny things are changing, and all of a sudden my unhappy bucket is creeping up on my happy bucket. And then one day you go, ooh, I'm not happy anymore, because the balance has shifted. You have to monitor that. So if you're in a place where you're saying, I'm not happy where I am, looking at your past, understanding how that goes into the career happiness formula helps you evaluate where you are today. And from there, you can make good decisions about your opportunity and your ability to move forward today. Now, when you're looking at today and you're looking in the future, there's a big piece that we haven't talked about yet that we really weren't considering in our past, and that is the rest of your life. It'd be great if your career was the only thing you have to worry about, but I know that you've got other things. You've got family, you've got other obligations, kids, parents, you've got different things that you're worried about and that you're working through that you have to consider as you look at your career. Your career does not operate in a vacuum. It blends with your life, and it has to integrate as seamlessly as possible. So take a look at what is playing out in the rest of your life today. Is it, how old are your kids? What does that require of you? Do you have parents that need your help? What else are you involved in that is a non-negotiable? What are your personal requirements? What health issues do you have? What health issues might the people around you have? What are your limitations and pressures that drive how you're going to go forward in your career? And the thing is, that always changes, because you might say, hey, right now, both of my kids are driving, so they're pretty self-sufficient. It gives me freedom to do different things in my career. That's great. And so you need to look at your career and your options and opportunities through that framework. Very different than when your kids were in diapers, or maybe when your kids had activities that you had to drive them to all the time. Maybe now that they're teenagers, you look at it and you say, I can't travel as much because I need to be here. So you have to look at your career and what your choices are in the context of your whole life. And because we know those things are constantly changing, and a lot of times unpredictably so, that's why remaining agile in your career and really understanding who you are at the core and what your career happiness formula is, becomes the core of your decisions. Then you bring in these external and these personal life factors, and then you've got a bunch of stuff to manage, which is why it gets really tricky. So now let's talk about the future. Depending on your age, 22, 72, 42, you want to think bigger and beyond where you are today. If you're just getting started in the workplace and you say, I just don't have any context in which to evaluate or plan or even think about my future, that's okay. But just know that it's important. So even if you're starting a new job for the first time, you always want to have an eye toward what else in this organization what I like to do. Or if you're in a career that is on the downturn in terms of demand, what else do I want to do when that job or that career becomes much less available in another 3 to 5 years? Or you might be in a situation where you say, my spouse will be retiring in 5 years. Maybe let's say you're 10 years younger than your spouse. Your spouse is going to be retiring in 5 years. You know you'd like to keep working. What does that factor do to your career? What is it going to cause you to do more of, less of, never again? And how does that all work together? Maybe you've always had a dream of becoming more involved in the community. And so you may want to ratchet down your paid work in a different way so that you can be more involved in the community. And maybe that looks like doing some consulting on your own. Maybe it looks like part-time hours. Maybe it looks like changing companies or just pivoting from where you are so you give yourself space to do these other things. Or maybe it's a complete career change. Maybe you've said to yourself, I would love to run a coffee shop someday, or a little tea house, or I would love to buy a retail business and work with people who are really into birds and nature, sell products related to birds and nature or camping or whatever it is, whatever your dream is, when might that become fulfilled? So if you've got kids getting ready to go to college and you're thinking, oh my gosh, not only is that a pipe dream, but it's almost laughable because I can't even go there. I beg you, go there. Start at least thinking about it. Use one brain cell every once in a while to think about your future. And that might be, for you, that might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, it might be 20 years. Now, you hear the term career planning, and there is very little career planning done by anyone. And a lot of times people throw up their hands and say, I can't control it, so why should I even think about it? In my mind, when you think about financial planning, to say I can't control it, so why not think about it, is ludicrous. And so it should be with your career thinking as well. As a friend of mine once said, waiting until you lose your job to think about career planning is like waiting until you're bankrupt to think about financial planning. And I think that's a great analogy. So put your head up and look forward. In 5 years, how old will your kids be? Do you have any health issues on the horizon that you know about? What about your spouse or your partner, your significant other? What about your parents? What about your other interests that you're involved in? What will and what do you want those things to look like moving forward? Get very clear. I talked last time about getting a notebook, getting a career notebook, or write stuff down. You will not get there all at once, but if you start making notes, you will move toward there eventually. You can't just hope to wake up and be there. So that's why I'm a big advocate of saying, at least think about your future, at least think about what that might look like. It's to say I'm going to be the king of the universe or the CEO of a company. If you're sitting there in your first job saying, I think I want to be CEO someday, too big. Too big. It's the gap from here to there is too big from a career planning standpoint. So instead, you might want to think about, I want to broaden my goals. I want to broaden my understanding. I want to broaden my understanding of this organization. I want to spend time in finance and marketing and sales and human resources and operations. I want to broaden my perspective, because that be the CEO goal someday, that may not even be the right goal for you, and you're too far away from it to know whether it is realistic or not. When you understand what you're good at, what you like to do, what you can really rock at like no one else, here's the great part. You learn what to say no to, and you learn what to say yes to. I always think of this example from my career. Back when I was in my late 20s, I was working at a major corporation, and someone asked me if I would be the treasurer for the United Way campaign. Now, I said yes. I was so flattered. They asked me to be the treasurer. But what I missed was the fact that I'm a really bad treasurer. You know, the left brain number stuff has just never been a strength or an interest. It's not been something I'm good at. It's not been something I've liked to do. I said yes, and I'm sure looking back, I didn't do a very good job. So now here I am in this high-profile role in this company where I'm relatively young in my career and I'm not doing a good job at something. That is not helping me move forward. It's not helping me with my reputation. So when you know what you're good at and you know what you want more of, then you know what to say yes to. So fast forward about 15 years. I was asked to be the treasurer of my son's lacrosse team. And I said, no. I said, you know, I don't really think that would be the best use of my skills. I don't think I'm the best person for that job. But here's how I can help. Here's how I will help. And a lot of that is simply maturity and learning what you can be successful doing and what you can shine at and what you can't shine at. And so again, winding this back, it all starts with your unique career happiness formula and the willingness and the ability to sit down, be really honest with yourself, and figure out what you are good at, what you like to do, and how you work most successfully. And to have the courage and the willingness to take some risk to march toward that. You're not going to get there overnight, I promise. And your definition of career happiness will change. And so understanding that, it's about building a career that's focused and flexible. It's about being agile. It's about being self-aware. It's about taking feedback. And it's about understanding and being okay with the fact that none of us, there's not a person out there who's good at everything, but to embrace and to share and to be able to put out there to articulate to others what you are good at. Put your hand up for the right things. Keep your hand down for the wrong things. And know that if you develop a path and you stay on it, you will get closer to your career happiness. I promise. So keep writing in that notebook. Take some of the stuff that I've said today and write it down. Start applying it to you and to yourself and your career right now. And don't shy away from those difficult conversations with yourself. Because working in the wrong job, in my mind, for even 6 months is painful, let alone 36 or even 46 years. This has been Career Happy with Julie. I'm Julie Bauke, and we'll see you next time. Hi, and welcome to Career Happy with Julie. This is a new monthly series here on Anderson Community Television. If you missed our last episode, you can find it online at www.ac-tv.org. I'm Julie Bauke. I'm a career strategist and owner of the Bauke Group. Now, I call the Bauke Group a career happiness firm because for my team and myself, our goal is for people to be career happy on their own terms. And my goal for this series is for you to get career happy, or at least career happier. Maybe you never get to the point where you skip to the shower on Monday mornings. But imagine if you were just a little bit happier in your job or in your career. Imagine what that would do for the rest of your life. You know, as I told you last time, if you watched, the career fairy isn't coming. And finding that elusive career happiness is something that cannot be outsourced, cannot be delegated. Your mom can't do it for you. Hanging out on Career Builder isn't going to do it for you. It's something that has to be done by you, for you, because our career happiness formula is unique. Now, I don't even know you. As I said last time, I know you deserve to be career happy. And there is no magic formula to getting it done. But I do have a career happiness formula that I'm going to review today to get everybody up to speed, but to also review it because